Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Crawley Town Supporters Alliance Simply Reds podcast. My name is Reuben, and I'm joined by Louie. You doing all right, Louie?
Hello, yes, I'm good, thank you, Reuben. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not doing too badly, thank you. I mean, probably best that I don't think about football, because, it's not good for any of our hearts, and I think by the end of the season, I think all of our hair might turn grey, because
Yeah, it's going to be a
it's
very
getting a
short
bit
episode.
scary.
It's going to be a very short podcast if we're not if we're not thinking about football. But
Well,
I might
yeah.
be today. I looked in the mirror the other day, and yeah, on that note, I did see a few grey hairs that I feel like I'm just a tiny bit too young to be getting at this point. But they are very much Crawley induced. So yeah, thank
Yeah,
you, Crawley Town.
I just want the season mid-table, 12th, nothing to play for, come, say, February, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I miss being. I almost miss being a boring League Two team that just finished like 16th every season for a few years. That was nice. Yeah, but since we last recorded, there's been 3 games, some varying levels of performance, varying results, a lot to get stuck into, um,
Indeed.
and a interesting is the wrong word. A very nerve wracking last 3 games to not look forward to.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can look forward to the final one, and hopefully it's been decided by then. Because I think what we don't want to go is going into that final game against Salford and it potentially being a decider. Because that'll be the third season in a row that the final game of the season mattered for us.
Yeah, it would
First
be.
in our promotion season, then last season we're guaranteed our relegation.
Yeah, I suppose
Then,
last season it was the game before. It was the penultimate game, the last home game, wasn't it? But yeah,
oh yeah, that's true.
which was, I mean, that was heartbreaking in itself. Let's not revisit that.
No, no. So we currently see ourselves in 21st on 37 points. Then you've got Newport in 22nd with 37, Barrow with 36, Harrogate in 33. In bottom, you've also got Tranmere as well, who are 20th, so just above us on goal
Yeah,
difference.
very much
So
in it themselves. Yeah,
yeah, so it's probably going to be out of those 5 teams, be 2 of them. It's probably going to be Harrogate, and it's between us and the 3 others to decide what's going to happen come the end of the season. Are we going to be in League Two again for another season, which hopefully we will be, or will we be facing the National League and the likes of potentially Worthing?
Worthing or Dorking or yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's a ridiculous relegation battle. It's one of the most ridiculous relegation battles I think I've ever seen. Last season's was quite back and forth and pretty intense in itself, but a 5-way relegation battle where feasibly any 2 teams could stay up. Like you said, Harrogate are probably by far the most likely to go down at this stage. You know, they're 4 points off. Although their goal difference is nearly level with Newport. So if they were to pick up a couple of wins, they might, that might swing in their favour. I'm just looking at the table now. It is ridiculous. That's the only word for it. I mean, obviously it's very nerve wracking. It's just dreadful to be in this situation. No one. We all want to be playing for something at the end of the season, but I think when we were going for the playoffs a couple of years ago, it was a lot more enjoyable. Kind of that running was there was a little bit less riding on it in terms of the future of the club. I think just looking at the table, look at the fixtures, there are quite a few things that work in our favour. We are just about the best team defensively out of that group, in large part probably thanks to Jacob Chapman and his catalogue of world-class saves. We've probably got the kindest fixtures, I would say. If you look at our last 3 games, we play a Shrewsbury team that are confirmed to be safe now and are in similar form to us, 2 wins in the last 5. So not exactly an incredible form. They've kind of done the job they needed to do. We then face We then go to Accrington, who are not in good form at all. I think they've got like 3 points from the last 8 games or something like that. They're not, that's not a fixture that you look to and you go, oh my God, how are we going to get anything from that? We should very much go into that thinking we can take the games to them and get a result. And again, they're very much on the beach as well with nothing to play for. And then the tricky one is probably Salford at home. They could, the promotion battle is pretty ridiculous as well at the top of the table. Salford could well be still fighting for that. They're only 3 points off as it stands with 3 games to go. So if it comes down to that last game, I would be terrified.
But it's worth saying that the final game of the season, Barrow play Newport.
That's one of the other things I was going to come on to. Yeah, Barrow play Newport. So if obviously one of them's going to have to drop points. If they are 2 of the teams below us at that point, that works massively in our favour. And yeah, before that, Barrow, they had a great result on Tuesday night for them, which is annoying because it's just one of those things. It's one of those things that just makes you shake your head. Last time I checked the score, it was 1-0, and it was 1-0 to Oldham, and you think Oldham, one of the most informed teams in the league at that point. This is that's job done. And then I checked the score at full time. 3-2 Barrow with a 91st minute goal, and it's one of those that just makes you think, oh, this is not going the way. This isn't going to go our way, is it? And the most frustrating thing is, had Barrow not have won that, had Oldham got something from that game, had results gone our way on Saturday, it could, Saturday's game at Shrewsbury could have been a game where we secure our safety, because we would have still been at least 3 points clear. We would have been still at least 3 points clear and had results gone our way. I mean, if Barrow had lost, it absolutely would have been a game where we could have done it. If Barrow had lost again on Saturday. There's so many different permutations. There's so many different things to think about. It's kind of difficult to know where to go next. I mean, Barrow are the early kickoff on Saturday, which is interesting. They play a Walsall team who've got very little to play for at this point, firmly in mid-table, and who have lost their last 2 games. So Barrow, that's the thing. If you look at the last 5 games, Barrow are the informed team in the bottom 5. They've won 2 and they've drawn 1. So it's they will fancy themselves to they just about got some form at the right time. So you wouldn't be surprised if Barrow go at home to Walsall as well. If they go there if Walsall go there and don't do us a favour, you wouldn't be too surprised. The good thing is Barrow then obviously goes to Cambridge, who will be looking to wrap up automatic promotion. They're still very much in the mix at the top of the table. And we've seen firsthand how effective Cambridge are and how they just sort of suffocate teams, particularly the poorer teams in the league. And then obviously, like you said, they play Newport last day of the season. One of them has to drop points. That works massively in our favour. And hopefully by that point we are safe. If we take 4 points from these next 2 games, 4 points from the last 3 games, I think 4 points does it. I'm notoriously terrible with my predictions, but I'm willing to kind of put my name to that, and I'd be willing to, if that was a betting market, I'd be willing to bet that 4 points keeps us up.
Get a tattoo.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm not going to bet that.
Get Colin's face.
Yeah, I was about to say it might be whoever scores the goals to keep us up. I'll maybe do tweet us and message us with your ideas. if I'm inclined to make a bet next time we record. But yeah, you just look at the table and it's mind-boggling. I was chatting to a Palace Palace sporting friend of mine who sort of loosely keeps an eye on League Two, and I showed him the table and he was just he was speechless, just like looking at that sort of bottom 5. It is ridiculous, and he couldn't quite wrap his head around the sort of permutations of it and how it had come to this. But yeah, I am relatively confident. Ask me again on Saturday at 5:30 whether I'm still feeling like that.
I mean, just looking at the table, I think it just shows the importance of that win against Newport.
Yeah,
Because had we have lost, we would be 23rd at the moment. We'd be on 34 points. Newport would be on 40 points. They would be out of it. And yeah, it would be
we'd be
even
needing
tighter.
at least 2 wins from these last 3 games. Yeah,
I mean, we haven't had a podcast since that Newport game.
no,
But I mean, we did incredibly well there.
yeah. Let's start with a positive as we sort of look at the actual football itself. Yeah, probably in terms of the, regardless of like Wembley and the playoffs and everything a couple of years ago, that's up there with Hartlepool as one of the biggest wins in the club's history. I think one of the biggest results, because that, and a very similar feel to the game as well, in terms of very tight, very edgy. Probably not as comfortable performance as the one at Hartlepool, but same scoreline with a small diminutive forward getting both goals, and yeah, just very like you say, just I don't think you can overstate the importance of that result, and it wasn't that comfortable. Newport did cause us problems. They obviously had a goal ruled out offside, and Jacob Chapman had to make a great save from a 1-on-1. And they did put a bit of pressure on us, and they did huff and puff. But we managed the game and saw the game out well. Once we got to 2-0, 2 good finishes from McCurdy. The first one, it's right place, right time. Great work from Adiemo down the right to then cut it back, and the sort of goal that we've not really scored enough this season. We seem to get the ball into those good areas and then just not really have that final.
But I mean, was it Charlie Barker though who did that first pass to Adiemo?
Do you know what? No matter how many times I watched the highlights, quite a lot of that game, because it was a very sort of feel good victory, more so than usual. I can't remember.
Yeah, because I think it was an incredible pass that I think potentially kind of went, as we know, under the radar.
Yeah, exactly. It's gone so under the radar. We can't remember who played that sort of pre-assist pass, but yeah, a great ball through. Great work from Adiemo, pick out McCurdy, and then tidy finish. Those are the sort of goals we've not really scored often enough this season.
No.
We get the ball in those areas, and we sometimes get those crosses in, and the shots blocked, or we fluff our lines. We've been guilty of that a lot this season. So, and it did seem that once we got that goal, we had a real period where we looked really confident. Obviously, we got that second goal shortly afterwards. A great cross in.
2 minutes.
Hilarious defending from Newport to not only let Harry McCurdy, who isn't the tallest, to not only let him score a header between 2 defenders, or is it even 3 defenders, but also to let him score a header without actually jumping off the ground.
Yeah, it's a strange goal.
Is it? Because I couldn't work out initially if it had come off his chest or his head, and then watching it back, you see it's obviously come off his head. He's obviously nodded it in. It's quite a tidy header at the back post, but it's a strange goal because you don't often see headers where it's just the player doesn't have to jump. You don't often see headers where the player is between 2 defenders and doesn't have to jump, especially when they're about 5'9" or whatever, however tall McCurdy is. He's not exactly a target man type striker.
Yeah, 5'9" he is.
Yeah, that's a great guess from me.
Good work.
But yeah, I'm pleased for him because he's had a bit of criticism this season. I think he's always put graft. He's always shown flashes of quality. His finishing has been wayward at times. He could have ended up with probably double figures for goals this season if he has had a bit more, call it what you like, composure or quality in front of the goal. So I'm pleased that is a really big moment for him. However his Crawley career ends, whether he leaves in the summer or whether we have him next season, who knows. He'll kind of have that game as something he'll have that game as the moment where he really stamps his mark on the season. And so I'm pleased for him, and I'm obviously bigger picture is it was a massive win. I think we deserved the win. We were probably fortunate to keep a clean sheet, but we were the side who, I think particularly in the first half, we were a better team.
Yeah.
And so,
and also I think it's worth just highlighting like what we brought 600 fans there,
I think it's 530. I want to say 538, but it might have been 530.
which is like one of the
Yeah.
highest amount of fans we've taken to a League Two game. And so that probably helped hugely. So again, kind of fair play to the club, the players, the owners,
absolutely.
for contributing towards kind of getting that number up, like getting a kind of discount on the coach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was, and the fans were brilliant as well. It was, a brilliant performance from them off the pitch as well, in terms of the noise though everyone was making, and the atmosphere, and getting behind the team. So yeah, absolute credit to the club. And yeah, I mean, I'm struggling to think. I mean, games like Sutton and Wimbledon away, probably Luton away at some point, and obviously the playoffs where we took over 1,000 to MK. But yeah, there's not many times we've taken, especially to somewhere where it's a 7-hour round trip at least.
Yeah, probably something like that.
7 or 8 hour round. Obviously, a lot of people, being at bank holiday, a lot of people would have stayed in Cardiff and everything, and probably had a great night out on Friday night.
I know some people that stayed in Cardiff.
Yeah, I can imagine there was an influx of very beery, very, very happy Crawley fans in Cardiff on Friday night. So fair play. I hope everyone enjoyed that. Sorry, you were gonna say.
And I think it's worth highlighting for Harry McCurdy, his post-match interview. I know when he first came to Crawley, his first interview at the club wasn't necessarily what you would describe as your typical football interview. But I thought he came across really, really well. And I know he's done the pre-match interview ahead of Saturday's game. But the fact that for the likes of like McCurdy and probably about 90% of the other footballers that are on the pitch for that Newport game, if they don't perform well, they don't get a job next season.
They might be out contracts, or
yeah. And for us, like, whilst it'll be relegation, we can still we're still going to be employed by the people who employ us. We're still going to get money, etc. But for these players, playing football is their livelihood. It's how they get their money. And so if they're not performing well, then they won't be able to have a football club next season. They won't be getting paid. And I should imagine a lot of these players probably live paycheck to paycheck. It's not like they've got millions of pounds like you would imagine the Premier League players do. And so probably a lot of them need a club. And so they've got all of that on the line as well. And also, if the worst does happen and we get relegated, then there probably will be some changes around the club as well. And potentially some other staff members will lose their job as well, which of course we don't want to happen. And so whilst like us getting relegated from League 1 to League 2 is bad, I think us getting relegated from League 2 to National League is potentially life-changing, and it can have such a huge effect.
Yeah, you could even say catastrophic. Like, I mean, I've said a few times. I've said a few times this season about how, relegation from League One, absolutely gutting, but not the end of the world. It's not existential for us as a club. Relegation from League Two would be potentially existential. I would, in terms of the budget, in terms of the money coming in, what happens to the club long term, we'd never get back into the Football League. So, I think, like you said, I thought it's rare you see footballers talking about this sort of thing, but McCurdy acknowledging, there's people's jobs on the line. It's not just the players; it's backroom staff. It's the admin staff, the people who work in the shop, the stewards, the catering companies who rely on match day income. It's all of that, and obviously, reality is there are two teams who have to get relegated, and if it's not us, it's going to be say Harrogate or Newport or Tranmere, and they'll be having the same thing will happen to the club and the community there. But it's like you said after the game. It's not just about the football. It's about this is people's livelihoods off the pitch. If you get relegated from the Premier League, you've got the parachute payments. There might be budget cuts, but the person who works in the front office or the person who works in ticket sales probably isn't going to lose their job, because, at least not for a while. You'd hope they wouldn't. that's not the case if you get relegated from League Two. And also in terms of the momentum as well. If we get relegated into the National League, you wouldn't be entirely surprised if we're scrapping it out at the bottom half of the National League next season.
Yeah.
I've said it quite a bit recently, but you look at the likes of Torquay, Yeovil,
Morecambe.
There's many clubs bigger than us who have either got relegated again into the regional leagues, or teams like Southend and York who have got stuck in the National League for years and years and years. So you can't. I think you simply can't take our Football League status for granted, and it's why these next 3 games are so big. It's purely because it is people's livelihoods on mine. It is almost existential in a way that football often, as much as we all care, football often isn't existential, but this kind of is for the club in a way. Not to make everyone feel any more nervous than they already might have been, but yeah.
No, you raised some good points, and yeah, I mean we were quite unlucky not to come away from the Bristol Rovers game without a point. Harry McCurdy missing from 5 yards, if that.
McCurdy giveth, McCurdy taketh. It's
yeah. And which is a shame. And then because we were just full on attacking, Bristol Rovers go score, make it 3-1. When probably 3-1 probably doesn't really show the performance. I mean, it wasn't the best performance, but neither was it for Bristol Rovers. So yeah, had this game been in October, I don't think it would have been the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I think because of where it is at the moment, and at the end of the day, who cares if we play well? If we're not getting those points, then it doesn't really matter at this stage of things.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a big, performances sort of guy. Like if the performances are there, then the results will come. Generally, that's kind of how I've viewed it. But you're right. I think I said it last time we recorded. I don't care how we win at this point. I don't care if we look like the worst team in the world. As long as if we pick up a 1-0 win at this stage of the season, I could not care less. But yeah, the Bristol Rovers game is frustrating. We were better. It's probably possibly our best performance under Cousin Richards in a strange way. We should have got a point. We created enough chances, like you say. McCurdy missing from close range just before they got their 3rd goal, wasn't it? Frustrating, especially when they go down to 10 men right at the end. You kind of think, right, let's just chuck everything forward, and obviously we did. And I think you can't fault the performance, you can't fault the effort levels, or the sort of desire, all those kind of intangible things. But yeah, just frustrating, especially when you feel like you deserve to take something from the game. And it would have been a good point. Bristol Rovers, they've been in really good form over the last couple of months. It was never going to be an easy game.
No. And also
we sort of shot ourselves in the foot with the defending for the goals. I felt a little bit. Especially the second goal, it was a bit of a poor goal to concede. But yeah, what did help before they get Bristol Rovers going is 15 minutes beforehand they announced Steve Evans has got a contract extension at Bristol Rovers. Of all the games to do it, doing it at Crawley. I don't think that was a coincidence. I think we've all been around football long enough to know those sort of things. Coincidences don't always. I don't really believe in coincidences when it comes to football and things like that. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if that was quite intentional. I mean, I don't know what difference it would have made anyway, but yeah, a frustrating game in that. I mean, again, you can just add that to the sort of the catalogue of games that we've had this season where we've played fairly well, not taking our chances, and come away with less than we deserved. I feel like over the last sort of couple of seasons, last season I kept saying it. We deserved more. We threw away points. This season it's just been the same. I think I sent a message into our Simply Res group chat. Might have been yesterday or the day before, something along the lines of, there's at least 5 games this season that we've drawn that we probably should have won.
Yeah.
And obviously football doesn't work like that. But even if we'd won just 2 of those games, you think back to Chesterfield away when we were 2-0 up. You think back to the Swindon game we probably should have won a few weeks ago. Games where we probably, even if you just win a couple of those games, we're safe, pretty much. So it is frustrating. It is those fine margins. And this, I wonder if this will be another game. Obviously, the point would have probably helped us out quite a bit, but this is another game we'll look back on at the end of the season with any regret. I don't know. Hopefully not. Yeah, bitterly disappointing. I mean, but I suppose the good news, if we try and take positives, we did create plenty. It was a good, in terms of the performance at least, it was a response to what I think was quite a poor and a tired performance against Grimsby. If we have to speak about that quickly, because that was I thought quite not an unimpressive Grimsby side, but they weren't as good as the Grimsby we played on the opening day on Easter Monday. The first half we weren't great. Obviously, you go in 2 goals down, you're thinking this is we could have been 3. They Grimsby had enough chances to score 3 or 4 in the game. It was quite frustrating in a way because the ball, we didn't do well enough to look after the ball in midfield. Every time the ball breaks them, they would just get it out wide and attack us down the sides. We didn't really adapt to that quickly enough. It can happen once or twice, but it felt like it kept happening and they kept exposing us that way. And then the second half, obviously, you come out, you tune it down, but you think we can still get something out of this if we get off to a good start and get an early goal. If we'd come out and got an early goal, you know we're going to go on and get something in the game, because that's kind of just how momentum is such a big thing at times, isn't it? And we'd have given the whole stadium a massive lift. But I think the exact opposite. Literally, you could not think of the exact opposite thing to happen in terms of.
I can imagine at half time, Colin being like, "Don't do anything stupid.
Yeah,
we're still in this.
Lads, don't do anything stupid. Just go out there, keep put some pressure on them. They get a goal. If we get 1, we'll get 2. That sort of thing. That'll be the message. Just keep win your battles. Just get the ball forward. Get the ball out wide. Put them under pressure. We've got to talk about the red card, haven't we?
Yeah, Jay Williams kicking the ball, get a free kick against Jay Williams. Jay Williams then has the ball, kicks it, coincidentally hits the player. Well, it is now coincidental that he hits the player. I'm in 2 minds. You can see from the referee's perspective that Jay Williams has just kicked the ball at the player on purpose. Potentially from the other perspectives, the other cameras, it might have shown that, like, say, Jay Williams hadn't looked to see that player was there, hence why it was appealed and it didn't go through. But it's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of a lot of mixed thoughts about this. I'll preface everything I'm going to say by chatting to some Grimsby fans in the pub afterwards, and obviously they had a much better view of it than anyone else, really. Especially I stood down at the other end. They didn't think it was a red card. There's a group of 4 of them. Not a single one of them thought it was a red. They thought it was very soft, and we couldn't really see what happened. And so it was only when I saw the highlights that I saw what happened, and I was like, okay, it's stupid. He's given the referee a decision to make. The player dives. Let's be perfectly clear. Their winger dives to win the free kick. It's just not a foul in the first place. I guess if we're looking at if we're going to be sort of all technical and look at the laws of the game, is there in terms of, is it violent conduct? I think in terms of the force use, he doesn't boot it at him. He sort of just he could have been that could be a pass down the line. If that's the ball's in play, that could be a pass down the line sort of thing. So in terms of, I think I have to assume that's the basis on what the red card was overturned on. The whoever reviewed it simply didn't think that there was enough force for it to meet the violent conduct threshold. That being said, I am surprised it was overturned. It's one of those where I think it was very soft. I don't think the referee needs to give it as a red. I think he can literally, if he wants to, he can book him. But I think to be honest, a sensible referee would just go, look, that was silly. You're on a tightrope. Next, that's don't just walk away. That was stupid. Don't do anything again. I've got my eye on you, sort of thing. A yellow card probably would have been fair, and probably would have been the right decision. I think in terms of just managing the game sensibly, and was it something that warranted a red card? Probably not. Was it violent conduct? Probably not. But then, once he gives the red card, I'm surprised it's overturned. I'm pleasantly surprised, but surprised nonetheless.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
and it's definitely a type. Had it been the other way around, had it been a Grimsby fan kicking the ball at Jay Williams, for example, we would have been calling for it to be a red card. Let's be honest. And
yeah, of course we would. Yeah,
but I'm pleased he's back, Jay.
I mean, it pretty much would have been out for the rest of the season, wouldn't he? Would have only been back for the Salford game.
No, he'd be back. He would have been back for the final game.
Would it not have been a free match, or at least 2 match suspension?
3-match ban.
So you would have missed.
So you would have missed Rovers.
Yeah, so you would have. This
Saturday
he'd be back for the Salford game, I think. Yeah,
and back for the Salford game.
I'm surprised it was overturned. I'm just looking at the laws of the game as they're written on the FA website. Sending off offences, violent conducts, and then under violent conducts is when a player uses or attempts to use excessive force or brutality against an opponent when not challenging for the ball, or against a teammate, team official, match official, spectator, or any other person, regardless of whether contact is made. So I guess, and that's what I think I'm getting at. Maybe this is relevant as well. In addition, a player who, when not challenging for the ball, deliberately strikes an opponent or any other person on the head or face with hand or arm is guilty of violent conduct unless the force used was negligible. So I wonder whether the referee thought the ball hit the Grimsby player in the face, and I wonder that's why. And then when it turns out it's just hit him on the arm, maybe that. And also, I think that I don't think you can watch that. I don't think you can look at that incident and go, do you know what? That was a real show of excessive force or brutality from Jay Williams. It simply wasn't. So I the more I think about it, I think it probably was the correct decision to overturn it. It's stupid from Jay. You just don't give, especially at that point in the game. You're 2-0 down. You're trying to start the second half. You're trying to get back into it. Don't give the referee a decision to make.
Yeah,
but by the same token, if the referee has got a decision to make, he needs to make the correct decision. So anyway, I'm not going to say any more because I've said enough about referees this season. And but what I will ask is, our video assistant Reuben, would you have given the red card?
I mean, probably from the position the referee was in, yes. And that would probably almost been the easiest option to give the red card. Whereas if you don't give the red card, like the match would completely boil over. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Bristol Rovers game, but the referee totally lost control of the game, and you could just tell. And as a result, it was having huge knock-on effects. So I think had Jay not have got a red card at that point, and actually there probably been permutations kind of further along the line, kind of down the line on the match.
Is that where a yellow card probably just calms things down a bit? Is that where
potentially?
I think that is. I mean, it's a yellow card, isn't it? It's petulant. It's probably dissent. He's kicked.
Well, I mean, kicking the ball, delaying of the restart.
Yeah, kicking the ball away is dissent or delaying the restart, whatever you want to call. Whichever one you want to pick. It's I think a yellow card. Yeah, I think I do understand your point about trying to manage the game and make sure it doesn't boil over and keep control of the game, but it's I don't think it's the best decision. I think it was extreme. I mean, more I think about it and looking at the laws of the game and watching it back, it is very I can see why we appealed, and I can see why it was overturned, to be honest. Surprised it was overturned because you rarely get that going your way if Football Manager's taught me anything. But pleasantly surprised, and it was the correct decision to do that.
Yeah.
We did show a bit of spirit after the red card. We kept going. We did cause them. We actually, in a way, played better with 10 men. It felt like at times.
It's often a way. Often, like, even when you're facing against a team with 10 men, it's often more difficult when it is 11v10.
Yeah, I think we didn't. I mean, we had a few moments where we didn't really take our chances. We could have pulled one back, and then who knows what happens. There was a moment where I think it was Adiana and Forster, or Forster and someone else who balls played in between them. They couldn't quite get a shot off on goal. We had our moments. We caused them some problems. Obviously, they went down the end towards the end and hit the post, and that could have been 3-0. But yeah, it was just. I mean, we were quite fortunate. Everyone else lost on the day, so it didn't actually. It was even we were getting closer to safety in that sense. Even though we lost, it was a step closer to safety with everyone else losing. And time kind of on our side at that point. But yeah, shows how important that Newport game was, like you were saying. And yeah, just we need more performances like Newport, like Bristol Rovers, like Gillingham. 2 more of those performances, and I think we'll be okay. I'm going to put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of takes us nicely onto the Shrewsbury game. Playing against a Shrewsbury team, that Shrewsbury, however you want to say it, a team that's not playing for anything. They're safe. They won on Saturday against Oldham Athletic 1-0. They're on 47 points. We're on 37. I mean, thankfully it's at home, so we do have that kind of advantage. And yeah, it's a game we've got to kind of fight for our lives, really, and hopefully can get 3 points.
Yeah, they're a team who improved massively under Graham Cowan. He's come in there and kept them, just done a brilliant job, turning them into a pretty good side at times. But obviously, yeah, like you say, they're not playing for anything. They are firmly on the beach. They're safe. They got they might be looking up the table, see if they can finish above Cheltenham and Gillingham and all that. But it's the sort of fixture that if you're in a relegation battle, this is the fixture you want. This is the perfect fixture at home against a team that have got nothing to play for, who their form's dropped off a little bit. Like I said, they beat an Oldham team in great form, who were in great form up until that point. And then, yeah, they're capable. They're a capable enough side, but are they playing for anything? Players playing for contracts. And I'm not saying the players won't be motivated anyway, but it's a different kind of motivation. And you do wonder whether. I mean, if we don't win on Saturday, you really do start to worry, because you couldn't wish for a more ideal fixture in many. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to Shrewsbury, but team, you're at home against a team with nothing to play for. That is just the exact fixture you want. You don't want a team. You don't want to be playing a team that's going for promotion or going for the place. You don't want to be playing a relegation 6-pointer. What more could you ask for in that sense? But not going to be an easy game. They're a threat from set pieces. They don't score many goals. On the other hand, they are one of 2 teams who have scored less goals than us this season. The other one being, unsurprisingly, Harrogate. And they've actually conceded more goals than us. So they've somehow got a worse goal difference than us, despite being 10 points better, which is curious. But it's not going to be, it's not going to be a game that you stick, both teams to score on, or you're looking at, I think it's going to be 2 or 3 all goals flying in. I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be nervy. I wouldn't be surprised if we're up against it in terms of set pieces, and they're looking to hit us on the counter. We're going to have to take the game. So the onus is on us to win. I think it is a must-win game if you consider We then go away again to an Accrington team with nothing to play for, who are in pretty dreadful form. You couldn't wish, you couldn't really wish for the next two games to be any different, really. Obviously, Salford. If we go into the Salford game needing a win to stay up, I would be nervous. I'll be really nervous.
Yeah.
So I kind of want us to be. I kind of don't want anything riding on that game. I kind of just want us to be in a position where we aren't looking over our shoulder too much by that point. But it's one game at a time. We'll get through the next couple of weekends and see where we are. And yeah,
And as you said,
I don't even know how to feel.
And as you said at the beginning of the pods, thankfully a lot of the teams around us have got some quite difficult games. I mean, you've got Barrow against Walsall. It's at Barrow, so that's potentially a bit of a banana slip there. You've got Cheltenham against Newport. Cheltenham have been playing well recently, and although they don't have anything to play for, it's at home, it's a derby for them. So no doubt Cheltenham probably favourites there. You've got us, and then you've got Tranmere v Bristol Rovers. Bristol Rovers currently flying high at the moment, and I think are definitely wanting to finish the season strongly, even though they don't have anything to play for. Particularly with Steve Evans getting a new contract.
Yeah,
and Tranmere just in a bit of a free for all at the moment.
Yeah, you kind of they've really been dragged into it, and I guess what I'm telling myself is we've only got to be better than two of these teams. We've only got, and that's why I think 4 points will do the job, because you have to think. I mean, 4 points obviously puts Harrogate out of the equation in terms of them finishing above us. So at that point, you're only worried about one more team, and you have to think that. And with Barrow playing Newport on the final day, one of those teams can drop points. One of the two teams below us is guaranteed to drop points in that over the next few games. Which it sounds a bit redundant when I say it out loud, but the point stands that if we are above them going into that final game, we'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
But if we're above one of them, we have to be. I don't know. It's. I mean, I guess I'm thinking about the maths now. I mean, if we are in 21st on the final day, we are basically guaranteed to be safe. And so you have to think that 4 points in the next couple of games, there's no way, surely, we'd be anything other than 21st. So I think that's, I think there's enough working in our favour that I'm in our favour in terms of the way the fixtures and the maths kind of works out, and the fact that our goal difference is okay compared to the teams around us. It's much better than the three teams below us, especially. Tranmere in free fall, and they're. I mean, let's have a look at their fixtures. They're in free fall. They put 1 point from the last 5 games. There, like you said, they play Bristol Rovers, who are flying, and they go to Cheltenham on the Tuesday night. Play MK Dons, who will be going for the title. They then play Grimsby, who will be going for the playoffs. So. I think if we are not in the relegation zone on the final day, I think we'll be okay. That is my prediction.
Yeah, fingers
crossed. 4 points will do it in that.
Fingers crossed. I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna relax until it's been mathematically confirmed, are they?
No, because I think at one point we were probably quite. I think on Tuesday morning we were all fairly relaxed. We all thought, we're 4 points clear. There's no way, but if Barrow beat Oldham, an informed Oldham, who had a, managed the month, had a really good March, and all that sort of thing. There's no way we don't need to worry about that. Oldham will do us a favour. We're suddenly very much looking over our shoulder again. Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, and so. I mean, we could feasibly, be in the relegation zone. Actually, no, we couldn't. Yeah, we could. Yeah, we could be in the relegation zone on Saturday evening.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to consider that possibility. Obviously, Newport going to Cheltenham, and Newport kind of have picks up a little bit. Obviously, they only won 2 of the last 5, but they have picks up a little bit. You can't help but feel we'll know. Obviously, I mean, again, stating the obvious, we'll know a lot more on Saturday come sort of 5:30, 5:20.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess the only other, obviously Barrow with the early kickoff, that will set the tone. I think that's going to set the tone for how we all feel going into the stadium, going into the ground on Saturday. It's
it's going to be touch and go, isn't it?
It's I think the fact that I'm kind of tying myself in knots trying to talk talk through all the permutations and everything shows kind of, I think that kind of sums it up really.
Yeah, people will be no doubt checking the scores regularly on Saturday, but let's hope at the end of the day it's still in our hands, and as long as we win, that's probably the most important result out of them all.
Yeah, I mean, all we've got to do, it's in our hands. It's not like it was at this point last season where we were absolutely flying, but it wasn't in our hands. We had so much to do. We don't have to do that much to stay up at this point. Famous last words, but it's in our hands.
Exactly.
We don't have to, we can not worry about other results if we just do the business ourselves. Hopefully we're not in a sort of situation like when we played Northampton at home last season where, half the time we were all glued to FotMob or SofaScore or Flash Score, whatever your rapid choice is. Looking at the Burton game, but it's in our hands.
100%.
And that's, I think, if you'd have said to a Crawley fan a few weeks ago, you'll be going into the last 3 games, it'll be in your hands, and you've got, you're playing Shrewsbury and Accrington in 2 of those 3 games. I think we all probably would have been all right with that. Not happy, but I think we would have been all right with that. So I'd much rather be in our position than pretty much anyone else's in that bottom 5, honestly.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
So I think that's enough about football. Let's look about kind of off the field stuff. So I've just seen a tweet right now on percentage of stadiums filled in League 2 this season. We fill 58% of our stadium, which is the 7th highest in the league, which is quite impressive.
That is a good effort from everyone. Obviously, we haven't got the biggest ground, we're not the biggest fan base, but that's pretty encouraging. As a percentage, that feels quite low, but I guess does that include away?
Yeah, it does.
That would make sense. And I did see something on a related note, maybe last week, about, I think we've got one of the better away followings this season as well. It's like we're nowhere near the bottom for away followings. Like, we've got better away followings than some clubs like, I think Walsall were below us and Shrewsbury were below us. Like, teams in the Midlands and whatnot, which you'd think they'd always have decent away followings. But we were above some surprising names in terms of our away following. So again, fair play to everyone who goes away every other week and has followed us up and down the country for the last 9 months.
Well done. It's not been easy. It's not at all.
It's nearly over one way or the other.
And then another thing is the CTSA met up with Tom Allman a few weeks ago, looking at a few things such as highlighting the potential financial implications of relegation, and that the club do have a dynamic plan in place regardless of what league we're in, and that the owners are still going to back us no matter what league. Also has said that the players' contracts have been designed to help manage costs should kind of relegation happen. So, for example, relegation clauses being one of them, which is good. I think QPR might have been stung previously by relegation clauses.
Yeah, I think Leicester might be another one who could be in trouble with that if they, as it looks quite likely, if they go down from the Championship.
Yeah, exactly. And then we also announced Hugh McKinney as our fan representative on the fan advisory board, which is good. And final thing we need to do is the latest Reds rollover draw. So I'll just let it run It's on a 10-second timer, so we've got to wait 10 seconds.
Oh, we've got a live one this time.
We've got a live one this time. Yeah, we haven't done it beforehand. 3, 2, 1, and in first place is Nick Jode, and in joint second place is Matt Adenall and Nick Hilton. So congratulations to all those winners.
Congratulations, enjoy your winnings.
And moving away completely from Crawley, it's worth giving a shout out to Rob Elliott for keeping Gateshead up. I think everyone has a bit of a soft spot, I think, for Rob Elliott. It never worked out for him here.
No.
And I know he was affected a little bit by what happened and kind of put him off football. But I think he's worked miracles at Gateshead.
Yeah, genuinely delighted for him.
Nobody thought they'd ever stay up. I think they were like something like stupid, like 10 points off staying up before he took over. And now they're guaranteed to be safe, which I think, just fair play to him. And hopefully, he's probably the type of manager where, for him, Gateshead's his club.
Yeah.
And actually, kind of, if he sticks there long term, he'll achieve stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he did a brilliant job there before he came to us, like winning the FA Trophy, got them into the playoffs. So there's clearly a really good coach and a really good manager there, and the job I'm genuinely delighted for him because he comes across as a really nice bloke, and I don't think the Crawley job was the easiest job last season by any stretch of the imagination. Probably wasn't the right job for him at the time. I thought he would be a good fit, but probably wasn't the right job for him. But he's gone there and he's done an incredible job. Like, it cannot be overstated. So yeah, fair play to him. Really pleased to see him doing well, and let's hope we don't see him next season, but maybe at some point in the future if Gateshead come up.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Louie, thanks very much for joining me for this episode of
Pleasure as always.
Simply Reds. And let's hope for 3 points on Saturday. So come on, you Reds.
Come on, you Reds.